The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, iHeartRadio, Mutual Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Simul TV, and, of course, on Simul Radio. Now, if you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. Just a note before we get to our two guests this hour. The X Chronicles newspaper for September and October will be issued Monday morning, and it will be available for each and every one of you with our compliments online. 92 full-color pages. You can either read it online, download it, or if you want to pay for it, you can go to Amazon.com and pay for it. But why pay for it when we're giving it to you for free? All you need to do is go to www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. Exonation, my guests this hour are Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue. Now, Heidi's own spirit experiences started when she was a young child. She first started seeing spirits and images others couldn't understand when she was very young. Heidi has memories from before she was 4 years old. She didn't understand why she could see what others could not. And there was no one in her family that understood what she was experiencing or going through. Heidi chose to stop talking about these things, and you must admit, it would be very scary for a child, let alone an adult. The fear prevented her from understanding why spirits were there with her. The fear also kept her in a state of feeling watched, paranoid, and on the edge until she was in her 20s. Joining me now is Heidi and Tim, and to the both of you, welcome to the X Zone.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. What was it like growing up? I can't imagine. Here you have this gift, and there's no one you can turn to.
Yeah, and I don't know that I would call it a gift when I was growing up. It was anything but. It was very confusing, and I was frightened a lot. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't anybody that I could talk to about it. So it was really just trying to get by day to day and just learn how to live with it until I could start figuring it out on my own when I got a little bit older.
What was the turning point where you decided, I've got to face this, I have to find out what it is and why I have this ability?
That was probably in my early 20s. I had reached the point where I had to decide what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. I was either losing my mind or this was happening for a reason. And I look back now and know that when I had this pivotal point, it was really one of my spirit guides. I didn't realize at the time, but one of them coming in and saying, you need to figure this out. And so it was almost like having a conversation with someone that wasn't there that would help talk some sense into me and understand that if I would just calm down and take a more logical and rational approach to it, I could see that really there hadn't been anything happening to me that was negative. My experiences were scary just because I didn't understand them. And by just slowing down, asking myself some, logical questions of, why is this happening? What's going on? I would be able to start figuring it out. And that's really when I started working with it in a healthier way.
What was it like when you first realized who you were dealing with, what you were dealing with, and the importance of the task and the journey that you had been put on?
Well, again, that was probably in my early 20s. I had really just been floundering up until that point and doing my best to just keep my head on straight. Once it was clear to me that this was happening for a reason and I was, supposed to figure it out,
Yes.
it was quite a journey. And at that point, what I realized is that my spirit guides, who had been with me my whole life, had started opening up clearer channels of communication to help me figure it out, and show me what was present, what all these beings were, who they were, what they wanted, and they started helping me. So really, my first teachers were my spirit guides. It was not even anyone that was human.
Was there one spirit in particular that you used to communicate with most, and do you still communicate with that spirit today?
With my spirit guides, yes. There isn't a name that I could associate with any of them, but there seems to be a couple of them that I work with on a regular basis. And now with Tim, we have one that we actually share, and he goes between the two of us. And so there have been a couple that have been stronger influences in my life, but I wish I could give you a description. It's
Sure.
just they're beings that are with me.
All right, let's bring Tim in now and find out about Tim. Tim, tell us about yourself.
Well, as far as paranormal and stuff, I started having some of my earlier experience after I'd gotten out of the military. I started having dreams of premonitions and stuff like that. And it was more in a factual type situation. I really didn't believe in this stuff, to be honest with you. I just, it wasn't my world. But things started happening to me. I started having dreams of premonitions. I started seeing things.
Right.
I started feeling things, and I could tell when there was other energy around me that I didn't understand. And then gradually I went to the paranormal field and met Heidi and stuff, and started working with her.
So how long have you two been working together?
We met 8 years ago, I believe. Is that correct? Eight or
Yes,
nine,
yeah.
maybe even 9 years ago now. So we've been working together for a while.
And what is it exactly that you two do together?
What we have discovered as we've started working together, originally we were on doing paranormal investigations.
Right.
Through that journey, we discovered that doing clearings was becoming more and more of what we were called to do.
Right.
And so that's our specialty, is working on clearings. And the clearings that we've been doing the last few years have really grown into something that are few that people can deal with. We tend to get the extreme. They tend to end up on our plate. So the extreme clearings and extractions unfortunately seems to be our specialty.
Yes.
I don't choose that, but they end up on our plate. So
You seem to find us.
yeah.
I was just going to ask you, how do people find you? And, what's entailed in somebody calling you? Is there a screening process that they go through? Do you just... How do you handle it? Let's say, for example, I call you up and I say, "Hi, Heidi and Tim, it's Rob. I think my house is haunted. I think there's something here." What would you do from that point on?
We have a series of questions that we would ask someone to determine if it's real. First of all, I'm surprised at how often we don't get pranked, or that people are just looking for a kick.
Right.
Usually when people end up on our doorstep, they've already gone through groups or other people that have hit kind of a dead end and don't know where to take the situation as it's happening. They're trying to resolve something for someone or family, and they hit a dead end and it gets handed over to us. So we usually get a lot of referrals from other paranormal groups, mediums, intuitives, shamans. We tend to get the ones that stump everybody else, and that's good. I mean, we will stay on it until we finish it.
Yep.
But people do contact me directly through my business, or through our paranormal group, and ask, hey, I have I think I have a haunted house, or I have this weird activity. What do I do, or can you help? Depending on the level of activity, we may refer them to another group or someone else that can do that. We tend to want to focus our time on more extreme cases because that's where we find our talents lie. So we would rather turn over maybe, I don't want to say a basic investigation, but something that's a little bit more mainstream, because there are different levels of activity and hauntings, we'll call it. So we'll take the extreme ones, and we'd rather put our time towards those.
All right, stand by, Tim, and I'm sorry, Heidi. We've got to take our break here. We'll be back on the other side. X-Zone Nation, if you'd like to find out more about our guests this hour, Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue, visit their website at myspiritexperience.com. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studio in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And we'll all be back on the other side of this break as we continue investigating the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomena, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Exonation, our guests this hour are Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue. Their website is myspiritexperience.com. And for some reason, I'm determined to call Tim Tom, and I don't know why. So excuse me. My gosh.
Probably not the worst thing he's been told.
You haven't called worse.
I don't think so. You seem to be such a nice guy.
He is.
There you go. All right, guys, take me to what you would consider to be your most awesome case that you guys have investigated. The case that you never thought would come. The case that defines what you as paranormal investigators see as the ultimate case to this point in your careers.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We just looked at each other and we knew right away. It was a farm just outside of Chicago,
Yeah.
Illinois. And it was an accident that we stumbled upon it, which is how we work. And I feel bad for people that know us, that want to bring us somewhere paranormal or haunted or whatever, because we end up wrecking a lot of the places for them, and we uncover more than what's there.
Okay.
And so it kind of, it turns it, not wrecking, I shouldn't say that, but we went to this farm that was haunted,
Right.
and it was supposed to be a great place for people to go and interact with paranormal. So really a group of us was going there on like a mini vacation, right?
Yeah, sure.
It was a haunted farm, and people can come for the weekend, and it almost like a bed and breakfast. This guy opens up his house to whoever wants to show up. You just plan your weekend and show up.
Right.
So we a bunch of us were thinking, oh, this is going to be a nice relaxing weekend. And a few people couldn't go, so it ended up being 3 of us that went. And we had heard all sorts of good stuff about it. The spirits are so friendly. This guy that lives there, it's like his family, and they're so welcoming and hospitable, and you got to see it. You would get a kick out of this place. And so we were excited to go.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it.
And we get there, and the gal that had been there before, who was with us, a friend of ours, she's looking around, and we come into the place feeling like something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
And we get inside, and there's not a spirit to be found. They're scattering like cockroaches when the lights turn on. And we were walking around thinking, well, this is weird. And she said, it is weird. Usually they come out and they're greeting you and hello, how you doing? And nobody's here. I said, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And from there on, we were there for 4 days, and we kept uncovering information and energies that didn't line up with everything we had heard about the place. And what we had found in being there is that everything that had been presented to everybody prior had been a fabrication of one extreme being. And it was a very negative being.
It was like a puppet show that was being run with one big entity behind the scenes.
Right.
So.
And it was extremely dangerous. We asked to have no information about the property before we went, because we just wanted to discover and enjoy for ourselves. And so we had no information other than there was a lot of, what we had just said, that they were just friendly and wanted to introduce themselves and hang out with us. And that was not the case. And the more we were digging and doing our own investigating, it turned into our own investigation. We started to see that there was one very, very dangerous entity, non-human, connected to the earth energy. And to some level, I don't know that I would say demonic, but on that level, somewhere around there, it was extremely negative. And while we were uncovering it, this being is just getting wild, because we're finding out things that nobody has found out before. And we actually presented our findings at the end of our stay, and the owner of the house was furious, and he hated everything that we said about the place, but he agreed with us. because what we told him filled in every single blank that no one had been able to explain to him.
Yeah.
Every other medium, every other investigator, everybody that had been there before, like they bought the puppet show.
Yeah.
And it's like this being or this entity couldn't fool us. And the more we dug, the more we realized what was happening and that he was actually in grave danger. And when we told him that he was in extreme danger and this would probably kill him, he told us about the other homeowners that he knew about and how many had died horrible deaths. Children had died on the property. Families with children, many children had died. People had suffered extreme illnesses, just weird illnesses that are just off the beaten path.
Yep.
So it was really, really a dangerous place. We offered to help him so that it would be safe, for him.
Certainly.
And he had to wrap his mind around it because his whole world had changed. These years that he had lived there completely changed. And he shut everything down. We left. He wouldn't let us do anything to help him. And last I heard, he opened it back up and is just going on about like it didn't happen.
By the time we left there, and that night, we were giving him all the information sitting at a big table downstairs. That farmhouse came alive. There was banging on the walls. There was noises coming out all over, and it was just coming off the hinges in there. Yeah. And it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Before you said that according to the person who had gone there before, who was with you, that the spirits used to come out and greet you, and do spirits usually do that?
Oh, sure.
Really?
They can. I mean, not everywhere.
Okay. So it's like like Casper the ghost and his family.
A little bit, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, spirits aren't that different from human beings.
Well, I think there's a big difference.
Sometimes.
One's dead and the other's alive.
Yeah, I mean, we're all still these eternal souls,
right?
Either with a body or without a body, and sometimes we're just not that different once we leave our human body,
right?
And depending on if there's still things that they want to do here, they have to do. They are, whatever their reason is for being here, they don't necessarily get too different than a regular human. So, so some of them can be very sociable, very charming, very non-threatening. And that's most of what you would find out there. I mean, they just don't want to be bothered, don't want to bother anyone, or will just be pleasant and kind of leave everybody alone, or maybe some small interactions. But we run into less and less of those because of the cases that we get now. But most of what we found just walking around town, going into someone's house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere you'll find just basic, average, spirits, just like you and me.
Where did this negative entity that was there, that was putting on the puppet show for the other investigators and basically ruining this man's life, where did it come from?
What we can understand about it, being that we were only there for 4 days and have not been invited back now, is that it was attached to the land, and it is extremely old. We found when we were there, it had been occupied, the land was occupied by Native Americans for a long time. And the homeowner had told us that there was a burial mound on his property and showed us where it was. And we did some intuitive work and realized that it wasn't a burial mound of people. It was a burial mound. We saw baskets and offerings.
Oh my gosh.
And it was actually to keep this being that was connected to the earth contained and keep the tribe protected from this energy. And so they had buried into the ground these protection amulets and offerings to try and just keep the peace and keep everybody safe from whatever this was. So it was extremely old. And because of the people that had constantly moved in once the house was built, and probably, everybody that had lived there on the property, because it was very old, it was growing and evolving because of the energy it was taking from the people that were living on the land. So it had evolved and grown, and actually quite rapidly, especially with all these people now coming in every weekend. It has fresh energy every weekend to draw from. So it was getting extremely powerful, extremely,
Dangerous.
It was dangerous. Yeah. And it was growing.
But how do you guys protect yourselves, from suffering any of the negative effects that this negative spirit could have brought onto you guys? What do you do? How do you protect yourself?
It's important for anybody that does paranormal investigating or any kind of spiritual work to really make sure that they keep themselves healthy first. To be in a good physical form, mental form, emotional form, just for yourself is almost a necessity for being well protected, especially when you're up against entities like this. If they're able to take advantage of you because you have, emotional weaknesses, physical weaknesses, you're much more susceptible to damage or attack. So we try and keep ourselves very healthy, and we do work on our own spiritual protections as well, and have a strong spiritual faith, and work together to ensure that we can watch each other's behaviors and movements to see if anything is off. We stop, we regroup, we do a personal cleansing, we put up our protections again, and then we can go back in. If we find that anybody is in extreme danger, we stop and we quit. Nothing is worth someone getting hurt to any degree.
All right, Heidi, I've got to take my news break at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. Exonation, Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue, our special guest this hour. Their website, myspiritexperience.com. And Tim, Heidi, and I will be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And you're watching us around the world on Simul TV on the X Zone TV channel.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and my guest this hour is Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue. Their website is www.myspiritexperience.com. Now, before we get back to Heidi and Tim, I would just like for you to jot down this telephone number. Area code 605-477-9614. That's 605-477-9614. And that is the telephone number to listen to the X Zone Broadcast Network anywhere. It's a toll-free number, and you can listen to any of the programming that we have. And for our program guide on the X Zone Broadcast Network, go to www.xzbn.net. All right, Tim, what has been your most shocking experience? Like, I mean the experience that had the adrenaline going, the little hairs on the back of the neck standing up, and those goosebumps, and you nearly saying, that's it, I'm going home.
I guess my big experience was when I was at Ohio State Reformatory. We were, it's a prison down there. Mm-hmm. And I was in a cell doing some EVP work, and I was provoking a little bit, which I usually don't do and shouldn't do, but I did. And I felt a sudden chill coming over me. And as we walked out and we left that cell, I kept going, and it felt like somebody had taken a dinner-sized plate and put it in a freezer for about 3 days and stuck it between my shoulder blades in the back. And at that point, it felt like I was freezing from the inside of my body out. It was just like my bones were freezing on the inside and the cold was coming out. So with all that said, then I started looking for a records room I didn't know nothing about in the basement. And I went down there and started looking through all the cells. And
your behavior was incredibly disturbing. I mean, more, it was subtle at first, but you were very, you were starting to stumble in walking. Your words were starting to slur. I mean, yeah, it was different because that's not your normal behavior.
Yeah, I was losing my balance and everything. And my core temp started dropping real bad. So I started freezing, literally from the inside out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What we figure when we got done, when we realized what was happening, we got him out of there. Because at the end of the evening, he had curled up on the basement floor of this prison that was damp, it was dirty, it was disgusting. Yeah. And he curled up in the fetal position and said that he was cozy and he was going to take a nap. And we thought, okay, that's not Tim. No. So we got him up. We're able to get him up to the central command and start warming him up. His core temperature had dropped extreme. Yeah. We had a temperature camera and a FLIR camera, and he had dropped to an extreme temperature, and what we figured was he was suffering from a spiritual form of hypothermia.
Unreal.
It was, and I think if he would have been alone, he might have actually died.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this: when it comes to something like the Reformatory, and I've heard stories about Waverly and all the other ghost haunts, why do these spirits remain if they know that you and other investigators are going to be coming there and bothering them?
That's why they're there.
Because they want you to bother them?
Yeah, and well, they need energy. If they want to stay, they need energy, and they get energy from us coming. So the more people that go to those places, the more spirits will go to those places because it can fuel them.
Oh, so it's like how you guys are the walking buffet.
Exactly.
Yep.
Couldn't they go to...
So that doesn't mean that they're from there. The spirits that are at Waverly Hills doesn't mean that that's where they lived and or died. They could be other spirits from other places that come there because of the investigators that are coming every night.
But couldn't they go and hang around a high tension wire and get the same
I think
energy?
they probably do.
Yeah. I never thought of that, Tim.
Yeah, they do. I'm sure.
So what do we know?
We're just a little bit more interesting.
I would imagine. So what do we know about the spirit life itself? You know, what's it like over there compared to being in the meat suit over here?
Well, I mean, from what we know, it's different in the way of time is completely different. So there's no linear movement like there is here. There's no day-to-day living. There's no time. There's no activity that we can measure in the form of time. There's no way to do that. So it's a different feeling. It's a higher vibration feeling because these bodies that we're in lower our vibration, our natural vibration of our souls. So it's different and it feels better. Once we're out of this, we realize how good it feels to be out. You know, we don't understand what it feels like sometimes to be in these bodies, but it's very uncomfortable for spirits. And once they're out, it's like you can breathe again.
Well, let me ask you this. Is what we call spirits actually our soul?
That's some of them.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to correlate this, because if we're talking about the spirit is within us and when we die it is released, isn't that what many people believe happens at the time of death with the soul?
Yeah, our eternal soul is what is forever. And that's what is part of this body that we're in. You know, it is the body.
Right.
They're one and the same, almost.
Spiritual body. And then your human body that you take form to come here and do whatever it is you came here to do. And then when your time is done with the body, you release and do whatever you're supposed to do next, possibly in a spirit place, another dimension, another plane. And if you're coming back to learn more lessons, you come back, you're reborn into a new body, and you do it again. But there's other entities that we're dealing with, too. It's not all human souls. There's a lot of energy out there, and I think it comes from many different things.
So when you're saying that there just isn't human souls out there, who else would be out there?
Well, there's earth energies.
Right.
There's demonic. There's just energy that comes from things. I mean, everything that's around us has energy of some type or another.
And there's so many that just haven't been human.
Right.
But they can still be beings, intelligent beings. And we may not, understand where they come from or how they come into being, but they're still just as present and can interact just like a human soul could.
Wow. Do these spirits ever leave, or do they just stick around until the end of time?
Well, it depends.
It's some of them, I'm sure we don't understand it all, but I know some probably got something here they're supposed to do or complete or are looking for or not sure of. And there's other ones that I don't think they really know what they're doing.
And some
stuck.
Well, and some are here to do jobs for our experience. So they're not going to go anywhere because they are contributing to our lessons and what we are here to do as humans. So that's part of these energies that we are sometimes dealing with. They're not supposed to go anywhere, or, sometimes they do go somewhere if they go off the rails, they go rogue or something. But some of them are working just like we're trying to be human and get through the day and figure out what we're doing next. So are they. They're there to do a job, and they have work to do, and it affects us here in this place.
So what is it that paranormal investigators are trying to accomplish? What is the ultimate goal of being a paranormal investigator?
Proof of spirit,
Yeah.
proof of spiritual activity, proof of, beings outside of human bodies, proof of the afterlife. I mean,
Trying to understand it all, that we have questions for, and you're never going to get them all the answers. I mean, it just basically, when you go down this path, it just offers up more questions, but you gradually get some evidence along the way, and you keep going forward.
Wouldn't it be easier just to go to a medium who can actually communicate with the other side and have the medium ask the spirit on the other side the questions that need to be answered?
yes, we do that. We're both intuitives and are mediums as well. And so we can talk to spirit. And that's how we do actually a lot of the work that we do is work with our spirit guides. But it's not just that easy to ask a question and get an answer. Spirits or spirit guides or whoever we're trying to talk to either sometimes can't give us the answer, won't give us the answer, or they try and we don't understand. So it would be very easy for a medium to give us the answer if they were interpreting it correctly, if they were getting it at all. There's so many reasons why we can't just do that. And I mean, sometimes we can. Sometimes it's just cut and dried, medium, here's the answer, done. Yeah. But there's so many reasons why that's not okay too. It's not possible to do that.
All right, let's talk about that when we come back from our final break. Exonation, our guests this hour are Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue. The website is www.myspiritexperience.com. And we'll all be back on the other side as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, check out the X Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Just go to www.simultv.com. That's SIMULTV.com.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light. Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue are our special guests this hour, X-Zone Nation. Their website is myspiritexperience.com. And first of all, I'd like to thank both of you for coming on the show tonight. Fascinating talking to you.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun being here.
Thank you for having us on.
Hey, my great pleasure. A question for you. Do spirits have a sense of humor at times?
Yes.
I know spirit guides do.
We have a spirit guide who is hysterical.
Really?
And you expect these spirit guides to be like Gandalf or Dumbledore or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you expect them to be this proper, magical, otherworldly being, and he's a cut up sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
And he can be really sarcastic, but he knows that that's sometimes how we can be, and so he knows that that's a good way to connect with us. But there's a lot of spirits that have a good sense of humor and can be really funny. They can play practical jokes on us. They can move stuff around and, in the way that we get, the humor in it. Yeah. I mean, that's where we were talking earlier about they're not that different than us. They just don't always, they don't have a body, but they're not always that different.
I would imagine for a paranormal investigator, it's hard when dealing with children. How do you guys cope with that?
Children here or on the other side?
On the other side.
Children on the other side, it's not that different than dealing with human children.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be careful too, because we've found that sometimes people let their guard down when there's kids involved, and they ease up or they lighten up their protections. And what we have found is that sometimes spirits use children to do just that, so that we are more vulnerable and open, easier to attack. So we are usually a little bit more suspicious when there's children spirits involved.
What is the number one hazard or danger being a paranormal investigator that you people have to pay special attention to?
Well,
attachments and
yeah. I mean, sometimes it's hard to see when you have picked something up,
mm-hmm.
you yourself, because it's sometimes very subtle, and so you just have to be very careful that you are really, yourself and you are healthy. I mean, if someone doesn't feel good, and then they're doing paranormal investigating, and then they just don't feel good again, how do they know? How do you know that it's you or it's an entity that's attaching to you or drawing from you? How do you know? So it's so important. And I see so many paranormal investigators that just aren't healthy, and they don't keep themselves in top form or do what they can do to keep themselves healthier. And it just leaves them open and vulnerable to attack.
Right.
I've often wondered if when people go to these estate sales, or if they go to the auctions or flea markets, garage sales, if they're actually bringing negativity or negative spirits into their house with them, and if they are, how do they get rid of them?
It happens all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Every time you grab something, a lot of times if it's not yours, and especially if it's old, it can hold a lot of energy. And yes, you will bring it home.
And that doesn't mean it's negative.
Right. But whatever the energy is, it will go with that item sometimes.
Yeah.
So how would a homeowner, or how would a couple who likes going garage sailing, like I know a number of my friends just live for Saturday so they can go out and buy somebody else's junk. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You spend all year emptying your garage just to go out the following year to fill it up again. It makes no sense.
There you go.
but how do you protect yourself? Is it, we can't say buyer beware, and we really can't go up to the guy who's selling and saying, listen, psst, get over here. That nice table, is it haunted? Is there some way of testing the product before you buy it, bring it home, to see whether or not it's got a negative attachment to it?
Well, some people are intuitive and can tell that the energy with the product or whatever it is, that it just, something's not right.
Yeah.
A good general rule is to just energetically clear everything that you buy through even just a basic and very simple ritual cleaning. You can use sage, Palo Santo, divine light, whatever it is that resonates with you, and just ask the piece to be cleared of anything that is not beneficial, that is not helpful, and ask your higher power, whatever your divine source is, to work through you to help clear this piece. It's very easy. It doesn't take very long, and it usually is pretty effective. Sometimes those stronger beings that we've dealt with, they don't go away with just a quick little brisk cleaning.
Right.
But for 95% of pieces out there, it would work just great.
Is it my imagination, or is there more demonic or evil possessions and hauntings happening these days?
I don't think so.
No, I think there's, there may be more activity, but demonic, I don't know if it's that. There's a lot of spirit energy out there. And sometimes it's hard to tell because spirit, depending on what it's doing, can seem, demonic.
I think people are quick to label something demonic when it isn't. I know that as a planet, we are shifting, and we are slowly but surely raising our vibration, which creates a energy balance, that the energy has to balance itself out. So it creates an influx of otherworldly energy activity. And that comes from both sides, the side of feeling really good and this energy vibration going up, and the other side saying, hey, we've got to balance it. So maybe, some of that negative energy gets kicked up as well. And so it might feel like, there's more negative energy out there or more stories. I think people are more comfortable talking about it now, especially with all the TV shows out there. And but there's so much good that's also coming about. It's just that we don't always hear about that. That's not something that makes front page news. It doesn't make TV shows like the negative stories. So I think that it feels like there's more. I don't know that there necessarily is. But that's just my own, I guess, personal opinion on that.
Yeah.
How would one listening tonight, we've been talking about negative energy, how would they boost up their own personal energy to be more positive?
It's important to, again, focus on positive health and well-being, getting yourself into a place where you are physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually strong and healthy is the best defense. It's not just a strong spiritual faith, but doing everything you can to be physically, emotionally, and mentally strong as well. So doing any of your own self-healing work that you need to do. That's the one thing that if I could tell anybody to keep themselves safe is to do their own work, because you're less likely to be vulnerable, to be weak, and that leaves you open to spiritual attack.
A person who is planning on becoming a paranormal investigator, what should they consider before committing themselves to this art or this career?
That it's not like you see on TV. So if someone is doing this because of what they saw on TV, they need to talk with someone that's in the field and doing this. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of work. And it isn't as exciting and active as you see every episode every week on TV. You need a lot of patience and dedication and mentors. To go out and just blindly start doing this is very dangerous. So to work with someone who's done this for a while and learn from them and have patience, because it does take patience. I've been doing this for over 10 years, just the paranormal investigating part. You've been doing it for almost that long.
Yeah.
And it takes that long to just gather a body of work that you can put together and say, I think we've got something here that we can show people and say, look, here's what we have. So it takes a long time, and it isn't as dynamic and fascinatingly wild and active like you see on TV sometimes.
Many hours.
Yeah.
Going over video, audio, video, just all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of legwork, you got a history on the location, and then you got X amount of cameras, X amount of recordings. It takes a lot of time.
We've got about 40 seconds before I say so long, guys. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll have you back on again in the future. There's no doubt about that. But in 30 seconds or less, what is your message to the X-Zone Nation tonight about being a paranormal investigator?
Take your time with investigating. If you want to learn, study under someone and make sure you keep your health and well-being in focus all the time. Make sure that you always keep yourself healthy.
Tim and Heidi, I want to thank you so much for joining us, and let our listeners know how they can find out more about you, and if they would like to contact you, what's the best way to do it?
Through our website at myspiritexperience.com. That is the best way to get a hold of us. There's a contact page right there.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and keep up the great work, and keep in touch with us. If there's anything that needs to get out to the world, let us know. We'll get you right back on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, Tim. Good night, Heidi. X-Zone Nation, once again, our guests this hour have been Heidi Steffens and Tim Donahue. And if you'd like to find out more about either one of them, if you'd like to contact them because you have a problem, www.myspiritexperience.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and Simul TV on the X-Zone TV channel. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomena, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.